Hi, I'm Brandy Gorsline, and today I'd like to talk about a paradigm shift. Through my own personal wellness journey the past 14 years, through my research and my education, through working with thousands of people, I have come to understand some overarching concepts that have radically shifted how I think about health and wellness and how one gets there to that place of wellness. And I think that requires a serious paradigm shift in the way that we think about our health and wellness. And if I do my job well today, I hope that I am able to challenge you in the way that you think about certain things so that you can learn to rethink some of these concepts and make the necessary changes so you can be on the road to wellness just the way that I am. So one of the first things that I'd like to challenge you with is I want to ask you, what is disease? What is a disease? Are diseases even real? Now, I have asked this question of many people when I've been coaching them with different issues. And the typical response is absolutely yes. I've been diagnosed with such and such, and I take medication for this disease, and it's a shocking concept to think about disease not even being real, when many of us not only claim a disease or a diagnosis, but we are also medicated or taking action because of that so-called disease. But in order to understand what a disease is, we need to take a step back and we need to think about, how do we know that we have a disease, a so-called disease? It's usually because of symptoms. What is a symptom? A symptom is our body's way of telling us that something is out of balance. And some common symptoms are pain, rashes or skin issues, maybe headaches, maybe hormonal issues like hot flashes or PMS, diarrhea, constipation, poor eyesight, digestive issues. There are thousands of symptoms that we could name. But no matter what the symptom is, it's important that we understand that those symptoms are a result of the body's perfect reasoning. We were programmed to heal on our own. Our bodies were created to heal themselves. And when we have a symptom, it's the body's way of adjusting to try to solve the problem that it's trying to solve. So a good analogy is the check oil light coming on in the dashboard of your car. How many of you get a hammer out and smash the dashboard, smash the light, turn it off, and keep driving? Nobody. It's foolish. That doesn't even make any sense. But our current medical paradigm tells us that when we have a symptom, when the check oil light comes on and we have a rash or we have pain or we have something going on in our body that is alerting us to a problem, we take a chemical medication, a pharmaceutical, or maybe an over-the-counter medication, and we essentially smash the dashboard. We turn off the symptom. We don't want that symptom there anymore. So we don't go after the diagnostics and try to discover why that check oil light came on like we would in our car. Obviously, the check oil light means check the oil. So we would pop the hood and check the oil. We would add oil if we need it, or we would check to see if there's a hole in the oil reservoir, or we would do something to fix that before we would continue driving our car. But when it comes to our body, we don't seem to understand that it's the same kind of system. When we have a symptom, no matter what it is, it's our body's way of telling us that something is out of balance. It's telling us, you are doing something that I don't like, or you're missing something that I really need. And those symptoms are the most valuable key to knowing what you need to change, what you need to do better to get well. So when we move back to the concept of a disease is basically a fancy, often Latin name that most lay people don't understand. And that fancy name is a label given to a group of symptoms. So when you go to a medical professional and you get a diagnosis, basically what they're going to do is they're going to look at your list of symptoms, and they are going to either dig into their learning from med school, or they're going to access something on the internet or in a medical textbook, and they're going to say, okay, you have 6 symptoms on this list, so we're going to call this diabetes. We're going to call this fibromyalgia. I'm able to check off 12 symptom boxes for this disease, and so we're going to name it this. And once we name it and we give this group of symptoms a name, we can code for insurance, and we can bill your insurance and get paid. And we can look at our standard of care and we can decide which pharmaceutical treats this disease name. And you've all seen their desk references books. You can buy those. Anybody can buy those to help know what drug is approved for what group of symptoms or disease. So do you see what I mean? Diseases aren't real. They are a name given to a group of warning signs that your body is giving you because it wants you to do something differently. So nobody has diabetes. Nobody has fibromyalgia. Nobody has eczema. We have a group of symptoms that are manifesting in our body from imbalance that have been given a name. And when we claim that name, when we name these symptoms that are unwanted, we claim that, we accept that. It becomes who we are, and it becomes even harder to overcome. We'll get into that a little bit more later. So I don't believe that diseases are real. Diseases are a group of symptoms that have been given a name. So hospitals, doctors, and insurance companies can coordinate on how everybody gets paid. So there's our first paradigm shift. Do you have a disease, or do you have an imbalance in your body that your body is desperately trying to warn you about, and you've fallen for naming it and claiming it? Okay, so here's the other paradigm shift that we need to talk about. We are exposed to more toxins and more chemicals than any generation ever in the history of the world. When we think about the environmental toxins, now most people think of factories and maybe exhaust from cars and some of the obvious things that we're exposed to. But the truth is, we are exposed to chemicals every second of every day, and especially in our homes. And because of this, we are inundated with chemicals into our lungs. We're slathering them on our skin through our shampoo and our body wash and our lotions and our makeup, and layers upon layers of these toxins are going into our bodies. We are breathing them into our lungs. We need to think about the outgassing of chemicals from cabinets and flooring and furniture and carpet. We are just immersed in this every second of every day. And our body has to deal with this, specifically our livers. And the liver governs so much of our overall wellness. And until we understand that just like the air filter in your car, the air filter, or the filter in our body, our liver, our biggest filter, our most important one, has to be cleaned regularly, maintained, and cleaned very often in order to keep us moving along optimally. So the paradigm shift that I really want you to understand is your health, the decisions that you make every single day, are what determine your level of wellness. Diseases don't really exist, and everything can be cured, even though we're not allowed to say that word. Everything can be cured by removing the obstacles to wellness and making sure that we have all the nutrients that God intended our bodies to be fueled by. So I hope this helps you understand a little bit about what your role in wellness is. The foods you choose every day, the chemicals in your environment. You have control over so much of what goes in and on your body. And most of us are just not making good choices. Many of us never learned about good choices. And by the time I was 28 years old, I had several chronic illnesses and I was very, very unwell. And that's what started my personal wellness journey. And I'm very happy to say that through my paradigm shift, through understanding the importance of eating properly, reducing my exposure to toxic chemicals, reducing my exposure to processed dead foods, through cleansing my colon, through cleansing my liver, and through just loving myself and treating my body properly, being a good steward of my body, I have been able to completely overcome all of those chronic issues that I dealt with when I was 28. So I'm challenging you to change how you think about this thing called wellness. If you truly grasp what I'm saying and you learn, you grab a hold of the owner's manual to this amazing vehicle that you walk around in, and you treat it the way that you would treat your brand new car, and with the daily maintenance, the regular scheduled maintenance, and feeding it the proper fuel, you will be on a wellness journey that will truly change your life. You deserve this. Every single person in your family deserves this. This is not a deprivation. This is not a oh, woe is me, I can't eat this, I can't eat that. This is a love yourself enough to fuel the only body you will ever get on this earth and help it to run optimally. And I want to speak to the people out there who mentally separate their emotional and mental health from their physical health. There is no possible way to separate the two. If you are struggling with depression, anxiety, anger, grief, sadness, any type of diagnosed mental illness, you are not just a big walking bag of chemicals. You are a mind, body, soul, and spirit, and every bit of that is connected. And what I have seen in my own personal journey through depression and anxiety and all of those issues that I used to deal with, as I took care of my physical tent, my body here on earth, all of those things started to fall by the wayside. I never directly treated those issues naturally in any way, except for I followed the owner's manual. I started to upgrade my foods. I started to eat for wellness, not just based on what tasted good or what I was craving. I started to move into serious detoxification of my body. And I remember one day it just dawned on me that I wasn't depressed anymore. I didn't struggle with lack of motivation. I didn't struggle with my trick was I was actually a non-traditional student in college at the time, and I had one child, and I would get up and I would take a shower and get myself all dressed and hair done and makeup on and go sit on the couch. I just couldn't take that last step of actually getting myself to the campus and going to my classes. There were just a lot of struggles that way. And like I said, I remember the day when I realized I just didn't struggle with that anymore. I remember the day that it dawned on me the anxiety was gone. Nothing had changed as far as my life situation other than how I was treating my body. I was working on my gut. I was cleansing. I was nurturing myself with living foods instead of the microwaved toxic garbage that I had been eating out of convenience for all those years. I had cut out the processed food, the MSG, the artificial sweeteners, the dyes, all those things that I didn't know were clogging my mind and my thoughts and my emotions. And so I just want to be really clear that if you are a person struggling with emotional or mental issues and you want out, then take steps to focus on your physical body, and you will see improvement in all areas of your wellness. So let's shift the paradigm. Let's shift how we think of this system. If there were no diseases, if there were no fancy names handed out for a group of symptoms, and you didn't need to go to the doctor, and you didn't need to fill that prescription, and you didn't need to fill the second and third and fourth prescription to deal with the symptoms, side effects caused by the other prescription drugs, the system would collapse. And that's where we want to go. We don't need this system anymore. When we have the owner's manual and we put ourselves in the driver's seat and we take over, we take back our wellness, we won't need any of that. Every single one of us can do that. Every single one of us. And I'm excited that you're watching this video, because even if you're not ready for this right now, these seeds have been planted. And I hope that you're going to look at your diagnoses a little bit differently. Break them down and say, what were the symptoms I was having that caused me to see a provider and get a diagnosis and get on this toxic pharmaceutical drug? What were those symptoms? Take this 2, 3, 4, 5 steps back. And guess what? The cure is always the same. It's a nutritious, nutrient-dense, living, mostly plant-based foundation of a diet. And it's removing as many chemicals and toxins from your personal environment as you possibly can, everything that you have control over. And then it's periods of cleansing, because if you're like me, I already had almost 3 decades of toxins to clear out of my body. And I know some of the people watching this video right now, you're in your 50s, 60s, maybe even 70s. It's not too late. You can do this. You can start removing the chemicals from your life and start detoxing the ones that have been on board for many, many years. So I hope this has encouraged you. I hope this helps you see that you are in control of your wellness. Only you. It's the choices that you make every single day with what you put in your mouth, what you put in and on your body. It's what you watch, what you listen to, what drives your emotional state. It's the relationships that you choose to be in. All of those things affect your physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health, and you have a choice. So I hope this helps with this new way of looking at what wellness truly is. And I'm excited to be on this wellness journey with you. Thank you.